Hey guys, welcome to another online math class. This video will be about compound interest. And by the end of this lesson, our goal is to know what compound interest is, be able to use the compound interest formula, and finally use the CAS to explore compound interest. Alright, let's just pause the video here and take a couple of minutes to write these down. Alright, so last lesson we learned about what simple interest was and how it's calculated only on the original amount borrowed or invested. In this lesson, we're going to focus on a different type of interest called compound interest. And this calculates the interest on any original amount plus any interest added, and this is a more common form of interest. Alright, so let's just look into what that actually really means. So let's have a look at this scenario here. There's $250 invested at 10% per annum where the interest is added to the account each year. So to find out how much this person makes in 1 year, we need to find out what 10% of $250 is and multiply that by time, which is in this case 1 year. So after 1 year, this person makes a total value of $25. So by the end of the year, the person will have a value of $275 in his account. So this is where compound interest is a little bit different from simple interest. So in the next year for compound interest, our principal, our value, now becomes $275 and not $250. So for the second year, our calculations are done with the initial value of $275, and now he makes a value of $27.50. So after 2 years, his money is $275 plus $27.50, which gives me $302.50. Same with the third year, our initial investment now becomes $302.50. So that's our new initial amount. Times that by 10% again to find out what 10% of $302.50 is. And after 3 years, the money in his account will be $332.75. If this was simple interest, it would have just been 250 times 10 over 100 times 3. So simple interest is a bit easier to calculate, but this person made more money through compound interest than he would have using simple interest. And for the following years, you just follow the same steps over and over. Alright, so that information is summarized in this table. But what about if we wanted to find the amount after 10 years? Does that mean we have to do this calculation over and over again for 10 years? Luckily, that's not quite the case because once again, we do have a formula to help us work that out. So that's our formula for compound interest. A is the amount of interest earned, once again, or paid. P is the principal, the initial amount, and we're going to multiply that by 1 plus the rate over 100 to the power of t, which is time in years. I just pause the video to write that down into our books. And there's one more thing we need to know for this topic is determining the interest earned. So that just means how much money did you earn from the investment, and this is found simply by doing the interest earned equals the value of investment minus the initial amount invested. So that's the final amount after all the time you've invested your money, and that's how much you paid to buy that investment. And that's represented as I equals A minus P. Alright, let's have a go at using these formulas now. Alright, so this question says determine to the nearest dollar the amount of money accumulated after 3 years if $2,000 is invested at an interest rate of 8% per annum, compounded annually. I'll just keep this formula on the top right here so it's easier for us to refer to. So we're trying to find A here for question A. So A is going to equal P, which is $2,000 because that was the initial amount invested, times 1 plus the rate is 8 over 100 to the power of t, which is 3 years there. And you just put that into your calculators. Let's do that here. 2,000 times, you've got your brackets there, press the bracket, 1 plus 8 over 100, just there, to the power of 3. So we need that button right there, and 3. Press enter and you'll get your answer there. But the question does say to the nearest dollar, so our answer will just be 2,519 because that rounded to the nearest dollar will be $2,519. And question B, we're going to determine the total amount of interest earned. And remember, that's just I equals A minus P. That's our final value. P is the initial. So it'll be I equals 2,519 minus 2,000. And that gives me $519. So this person made $519 in interest from his investment. Let's have a go at one more problem here. This one says determine to the nearest dollar the amount of money owed after 2 years if $10,000 is borrowed at an interest rate of 10% per annum compounded annually. So this time this person isn't making money, he's losing money from a loan he took out. So once again, same formula on the top right. Question A first. A is going to equal P, principal is 10,000 there, times 1 plus the rate of 10% of 100 to the power of T time. 10% is a really bad rate for a loan. And that's what it will look like in your calculator, and you'll get a value of $12,100. So your answer here is going to be $12,100. I don't see a decimal there, so it's already to the nearest dollar, so that's fine. So that just means this person paid a final amount of $12,100. So question B, determine the amount of interest owed. That just means how much extra did you pay for borrowing the money. So that's found by doing I equals A minus P again. And A is 12,100 found in the question above. It's like that. And P is $10,000, our initial amount. And then you'll get a final value of 2,100. So this person owes an extra $2,100 to the people they borrowed the money from. Now let's have a go at using the CAS to explore this in greater detail. So here it tells us to set up a table, but the first thing we need to do is use the formula from before. So just that one there. And we need to substitute P equals 2,000, our principal, and R equals 8 into this formula there. So let's just do that. That's going to be A equals 2,000 times 1 plus 8 over 100 to the power of T. Alright, next we're going to set up a table of values. So go back to your calculator, press the menu, go back to this page. And once you're here, we're going to use the sequence one again. So go to the right and sequence is right there. Once you're here, we're going back to that explicit tab. If you do have anything here, just make sure you clear it all. And then we're going to type this out into here there. So I'll do that with you guys here. It should look like 2,000 first. So 2,000 times bracket, press the bracket there. 1 plus 8 over 100 to the power, we're going to use n here instead of t, and so to the power of n there. Once you've got that, just press enter or exe, and that box should have been ticked now. Alright, once you've got that, we're just going to press that button there. So press this button and you'll see a table come up right there. And you can use this table to do question B. It says use the table to determine the value of the loan after 3 years and interest earned. So you can see from the table after 3 years, his money is now $2,519.40. And you can find the interest earned by doing P minus A minus P again. And last one, the important part here is to plot the growth of the investment for 10 years and note the shape of the graph. So we want to make a graph of this table here. So once you've got all that, just press the button on the top left there, second from the left. Once you've done that, press this button, and we're just going to need to change a couple of things here. So just make it look the same as mine for now. So for X min, I'm just going to change that to 0, make that a 0. X max, we're going to go 50 because our highest value for X was 50. Y min, change that to 0 again. And Y max, let's make it 10,000. Just make that 10,000. And just press OK once you've done that. Your graph should now look like this. And notice how the graph curves upwards here. It's a bit different to simple interest. In simple interest, it was a linear graph, a straight line. In compound, it's going to be a graph that curves upwards. So the growth gets bigger and bigger after each interval or year in this case. So just a closer look at that, comparing the difference between simple interest and compound interest. And just a few key points before we wrap up. You need to know how to read this table. So the first one means after 1 year, fifth one means after 5 years, and if you scroll down, 10 is after 10, 12 is after 12 years, and so on. So a question might ask you, what is the value of your money after 9 years? And you have to tell me it's $3,998. Or it might ask you, what profit did you make in 9 years? So you just do the final investment value is $3,998 minus the original, which was $2,000 from up there. And going back to the graph, if you want to know the different points, just press analysis, trace, and you'll be able to navigate between each point there. And last thing to go through when setting this up, I'm just looking at this table here. So my smallest is n is 1, so I'm just going to go 1 below that, which is 0. And my highest value was 50, which is why I set X max as 50 there. And for the Y min and max, I was looking at this part here. So your Y min doesn't matter too much as long as it's smaller than that minimum value there. But your max, it has to be bigger than these values. So I just did it safely at 10,000. So the values don't matter too much as long as it fits those criteria. When you're doing the questions, if you have trouble with this, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you. Alright, so that now brings us to the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully by now we have a better understanding of what compound interest is, how to use the compound interest formula, and use the CAS to explore compound interest. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all back online.